I love that, dude. All right, well, let's get this thing started.
Really cool.
Today, we're going to be talking about PPC 2.0, pay-per-click 2.0. If you've heard of Google Ads and getting leads from Google, well, Wylopo is taking it to another level, and we want to showcase what they've created because they got really, really creative when it comes to PPC 2.0. And if you know anything about their history, you know, they've been running it from even before Wylopo was created. So Howard, he's the CEO of Wylopo, and G, you're just the brains behind everything that happens at Wylopo. Sorry, Howard. Howard's like the finance guy and G's like the brains. There you go. Now you guys can take over.
Business and product. There you go.
Business and product.
Awesome.
All right, G. Well, thanks for doing this for us, man, because we really need to know what's going on with all the new stuff when it comes to Facebook. Because all I hear is, Google. All I hear is Facebook. Facebook lead ads, Facebook leads, which are awesome. Nothing wrong against it. But I think a lot of people are missing an opportunity with Google. And so let's get right into it.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Howard, do you want me to drive this first part or do you want to?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So, high level, I just want to give you guys some history of Wylopo. We've been, kind of doing innovative digital marketing since 2016. And, the history of Wylopo is even prior to Wylopo, Howard and I were part of an organization called Tiger Lead Solutions, who was founded in 2008. We've been doing lead generation at a high level ever since then, starting out in pay-per-click marketing at Tiger Lead and evolving into Wylopo, right? In 2016, when we first dipped our toes into lead generation for real estate again, we started out entirely on social lead generation. And the reason that we did that was because we felt like there was so much room for innovation on social that there was a blue ocean for us to improve lead generation in this area, right? We were one of the first companies in 2016 to release lead ads for Facebook, which is the reason that Tristan and us first started meeting, right? Because he was looking for a social media agency or a digital marketing platform that did lead ads at a very high level. Fast forward to 2017, 2018, we brought dynamic marketing from Facebook to the masses, right? This is dynamic remarketing, dynamic lead ads, things that actually took real inventory on the MLS market and brought it into the Facebook environment, which is something that I'm sure Tristan has talked about so many times before, but it's an amplifier to your business because we can actually revive old leads in your database. In 2019, we realized that generating a lot of social leads are nice because they're super cheap, right? Our average cost per lead on social right now is like $2.70. It's unbelievable. But having a lot of leads doesn't mean that you're going to get deals. You have to be able to work those leads. So we launched a platform called Raya, Real Estate as Your Assistant, that actually is a chatbot that works your leads over text messaging like an ISA would. And that product put more gasoline to our social lead generation because it allowed us to actually work those leads and create bottom of the funnel opportunities for all of our agents without them having to do the work, right? So it was a phenomenal release and a filtering mechanism by which that we could get you guys more opportunities out of all of the leads that we've been generating, right? 2020, we've been busier than ever. We've released a lot of things like Diva, dynamic video ads, a whole another webinar, that we can go into. We integrated with a platform called HomeBot to provide the best-in-class homeowner nurture platform in the industry, another webinar on itself. But most recently, in the last month, this is our public release. We've only released this to our internal clients. We have released something called PPC 2.0. With PPC 2.0, we've been beta testing this for over 8 months now. And we spent over $500,000 testing this with our clients. And the reason that we call this PPC 2.0 is because we believe we are doing something in the industry that no one else has done for PPC in the past decade, right? PPC, if you talk to traditional agencies and vendors, have been doing it the same way that they've been doing it for over a decade. And we think you're going to see here how we're doing things in a very different way. Howard, do you want to speak to this cost slide right here?
Sure. So I'm always preaching about building your database, right? And you know, the larger you can build your database, now we have such amazing lead nurture, like bringing these folks back, and proactive lead communication tools like AI, Raya, Real Estate AI is your assistant, that you just really want to build your database as big as possible, because you're just going to keep getting more and more and more hot priority actions the larger your database, right? So, you know, we really want to talk about like what's the cost and what are the dynamics around portal leads, what's the cost and dynamics around pay-per-click leads, the cost and the different variables around social leads. So we thought this was really helpful, and you know, it's kind of the theme that not all leads are created equal. The pay-per-click leads are, you know, 2.5 times roughly the cost. Now it's different in all the different geographies. These are blended numbers across the country. You might be like, hey man, I don't get pay-per-click leads for this cheap, but you might be in a super high expensive area or a luxury market, vacation area, whatever it is, right? But across the country, these are blended averages, right? So you can see that you can get like 2.5 times, you know, more leads on social, but there is a reason why the pay-per-click leads are more expensive, right? And part of that is search intent. So what we know is that when someone on their own goes to Google, Yahoo, Bing on their own and types in, you know, Glendale homes for sale, like that's their intent. Okay, they are triggering an action to go into an experience. On social, we are getting into, let's say, their newsfeed, where ads that are showing up. We're showing up, we always say, in front of in front of the right person at the right time, but we are initiating that content, right? That contact. So it's sort of company initiated. The buyer time frame is sort of interesting, right? We're finding that we're getting a little bit more down funnel leads. It's not like logarithmically different, but a little bit more down funnel on the pay-per-click in terms of closer to that ready to transact than on the social leads. The social leads are a little bit farther out. So 45% are going to buy under 12 months, but 58% are going to buy under 12 months for pay-per-click. So again, gets to why those leads are a little bit more expensive. With demographic targeting, we can do like laser focused demographic targeting with social media, digital marketing. And on pay-per-click, it's much more limited again, because it's consumer triggered. There's a little bit that we can do, but not nearly as much. In terms of the biographical data, the phone numbers, the emails, the validity rates, you get a higher email, phone number validity rate on social media, because it's normally the lead form is getting pre-populated by what they've already put into, let's say, Facebook, right? So much higher validity rates. On Google pay-per-click, you get more people that put in Mickey Mouse at DonaldDuck.com or 555-5555. Again, it's not like exponentially different, but it is better on social media. Location targeting, we're normally dropping a pin. We're going to go 15 miles around where you work. Whereas with, you know, Google, we can get really, really focused, not only the cities and the towns, but the subdivisions, the neighborhoods, the school district. Gene, next slide. So, you know, since the pay-per-click leads are 2.5 times more expensive than social media leads, the fastest and least expensive way to build up your database is going to be with your social leads. But, and Gene, next slide, I would argue that you really want to do both. Because again, at under $7, the Google pay-per-click leads are still phenomenal. And we're going to get into the body of this presentation as is pay-per-click 2.0, meaning that we're doing things totally different than the industry's done for like a decade. So these leads are amazing. So I think you want to do both. But the importance of building your database, I show a 50,000, you know, lead database example. This math is tried and true. We've tested it. We've analyzed it. If you have 50,000 leads in your database, you get to that point, you're going to get 10,000 people that come back and search on your site every single month. Of those 10,000 people, which is 20% of your database, you're going to get 18% of 20% that will become priority alerts, meaning that they looked at a home for 4 or more times. They sent a home to the significant other. They started like frantically searching for lots of homes. They're raising their hand. They want a showing request, like all these different priority actions. Of those 18% of 20%, 5% are going to be probable buyers or sellers, meaning you are going to work with them, right? And of the 5%, 17% you will close that month. So again, it's fractions of fractions of fractions of fractions, right? But this is the math. Next slide, G.
Howard, on this slide, hold on.
Yeah.
If you could go back to that one.
Yeah.
On this slide, do you see that this is the case every year for the same 50,000 database?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Which
so
is why you want
everybody,
to go from 5,000 to 10,000 to 25,000 to 50,000. At any given time, you're going to get basically 20% of that database that comes back and searches, which
All right,
makes sense.
so then do me a favor, everybody that's watching, take a snapshot of this one, because this just shows you the power of your database, which has been talked about a lot. And I know Howard and G are giving their best to show us, hey, look, this is the power of the database. And
wait till you see the next slide.
oh, dude, go to the next slide.
Go to the next slide. So Tristan, you're so on it, right? Because this is the money shot slide.
Oh, there you go. Take a snapshot of this one.
This is the one, but you're right on it, because we really get into the weeds here. This is saying no new lead gen, Tristan, no new lead gen. Like, you're sitting on your 50,000 lead database, right? We know you're going to get 10,000 return visits. Okay, that's only 20%. We know 18% of 20%, you get 1,800 priority alerts. Okay, 90 of those 1,800 people you're going to work with. 15 of them you're going to close that month. Okay. When Tristan, when you BS test it, you're only closing about 1/3 of 1%. Do you see that 0.367% number?
Yeah.
You're only closing 1/3 of 1% per year. And if you asked any of your people, right, any of your flock, can you close 1/3 of 1% of your database an entire year? It's like, of course you can, right? This is what we're trying to teach everybody. So if you do no new lead gen, right, but you do spend money on remarketing, because that's critical to keep people coming back. You spend money on AI digital assistants, so they're constantly proactively texting, the correct stuff to these leads, right? And we've loaded in our costs. Okay, you've got gross monthly sales at only $250,000 homes of 3.8 million. At a 2.5% commission, your GCI is 95,000, right? Your monthly net after cost is 87. Your return on database nurture investment, no one's ever said that before, T. Return on database nurture investment is about 1,200%.
Dude, that's sick.
That's it. This is what the big guys have figured out with us. And it's why, Robert Slack has just passed over 700,000 leads on his way to 1 million leads. And he may never buy a new lead again once he gets somewhere between 1 million and 2 million. This math doesn't lie. G, next slide. So we look at social leads, Google pay-per-click leads, and portal leads. And what happens if you spend 30,000 for the whole year? $2,500 a month. Okay, that's going to put you in rare air compared to most agents who don't spend that. All right, at a CPL of like $3 for social, $7.50 for Google pay-per-click. I'm like raising them above what we're seeing right now, but just to be conservative. And at $50 for like a portal lead, like a Zillow Realtor.com lead, again, I think I'm being pretty conservative there. You're going to get 10,000 social leads in a year, 4,000 pay-per-click leads in a year, and 600 portal leads. If I'm super generous to the portals and say you close 5% of your portal leads, only 1.25% of your Google pay-per-click leads, and only half of 1% of your social leads, you're going to do 50 social deals, 50 Google PPC deals, and 30 portal deals. Average home price across the board, $250, commission 2.5%. Okay, here's your annual gross commission: $312,000 on social or pay-per-click, $187,000 on the portals. There's your gross profit. There's your return on internet marketing investment. But here's the punchline, Tristan, of this slide, which is after 5 years, you'd have 50,000 leads if you spent all of it on social. You'd have 20,000 leads if you spent all of it on pay-per-click. You'd have only 3,000 leads if you spent all of it just on the portals. But we know, based on the last money shot slide, if you get to that 50,000 leads or people in your database, it's just money. It's like well over $1 million a year in GCI. It's just you've built this long-term perpetual value in your business. But if you only bought portal leads, it'd take you 83 years to get there.
Damn.
If you bought only pay-per-click leads, it'd take you 12.5 years. If you bought only social leads, it'd take you 5 years. So if you have a long vision, social leads are amazing, right? But if you also need to eat now and pay your mortgage now and send your kids to college now and pay medical expenses now, do both. Do your social, do your pay-per-click, get some of the low-hanging fruit with pay-per-click, helps pay for your investment in social, and this is the winning formula. G, next slide. So, the other advantage of Facebook is you can target local homeowners, right? So, for those folks that really, really want to key in on seller leads, listing leads, super important right now, that's the other advantage with social over pay-per-click is targeting homeowners. Keep going, Jay. And this gets us to the jab, jab, left hook. Jab, jab, left hook. Jab, jab, left hook. I was in the wrong hand. Be everywhere all the time. Smother your market, right? And this is, no matter where someone's looking, Google, Facebook, Instagram, Yahoo, Bing, there you are, right? So a pay-per-click searcher, for example, doesn't immediately convert on Google. We can cookie them and then get them on Facebook. It all works together. Next slide, Jake. So traditional pay-per-click's been built and optimized the same way for over a decade. It's static, non-learning, black box. Wylopo just unveiled pay-per-click 2.0, truly dynamic pay-per-click, and I'm going to hand it over to G. He is absolutely the mad scientist behind this. It blows me away every time he takes me through it. It is next level stuff. This is like, you should be reading about this, like in all the headlines. Pay-per-click has changed, and G's the guy who's changed it. G,
dude, honestly, before you go, when I first saw this, when G showed it to me, I was like, no way, this is insane. How come nobody had thought of this before?
There's so many different things that he tried and that he tested. One of the things I was really, really super excited about, but we have to be true to ourselves. Like, we tested it and it sounded great to everyone. It sounded amazing to me. We tested it and it just didn't prove the results. It was a theory, right? But like literally there's like 6 other things that G did that proved out that have taken this thing to the next level. It's really cool to do something where the whole industry's been doing it the same way since we launched Tiger Lead in 2007, and now we're changing the game. So having said that, you and I, Tristan, are equally blown away.
Dude. All right, G, take it away.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Okay. So with advanced PPC management, the first thing that you have to optimize is the website that people are coming in from, right? On the Wylopo side, because as I said before, we started with social lead generation. We optimized our home search website primarily for social, right? So the first thing that we did was we completely engineered our website from the ground up specifically for pay-per-click marketing, right? Our website is fast. It has industry-leading UI. It's mobile optimized. It's just built from the ground up for generating PPC leads. And this is one of the things, whether you use Wylopo or another vendor, that you need to talk to them about. Is your website designed for brand advertisement? Is it designed for social media marketing? Is it designed for PPC marketing? In each of those scenarios, the experience needs to be very different, right? And if they say they don't know what you're talking about, that means they're probably not optimized for all 3, right? Or any of those 3. So we have done the hard work of making sure that our website is highly performant on the social side, on the PPC side, as well as the social side. But when it comes to the magic of PPC, let me explain to you in the details of what is PPC 1.0, what has people have done in the past, and what we're doing that's very different. So if you were an average pay-per-click, if you went to an average pay-per-click marketer or an agency and said, hey, I want to bid on 5 locations, Santa Monica, Westwood, Marina Del Rey, Venice, and Playa Vista. These are all locations in LA, right? What they would say is, okay, what are the keywords that relates to real estate and those locations? Homes for sale, houses for sale, condos for sale, townhouses, real estate, etc., right? And what we're going to do is we're going to create a matrix, and we're going to bid on all of the keywords that combines the locations and all of the keyword modifiers together. So I'm going to have Santa Monica homes for sale, Westwood homes for sale, Marina Del Rey homes for sale, so on and so forth. So in this example right here, we've got 5 locations, and we've got 9 different modifiers. Together, you get 40 keywords, right? So those are the 40 keywords that an average marketer that you gave them 5 locations are going to bid on in your campaign, right? Now, here's the flaw with that concept. The flaw with that concept is that if you are interested in generating leads in Santa Monica and you're only bidding on the keyword homes for sale in Santa Monica, guess what? You miss out on every single neighborhood, subdivision, and school district that are also in Santa Monica. Because if someone is interested in looking for Ocean Park, Santa Monica, they're also looking for homes in Santa Monica, right? And an average marketer that was using only the keywords that you are providing them are then not also bidding on all of what are called the long tail keywords that are associated with that area, right? On the Wylopo side, what we're doing differently is because we know from mapping data, you give us Santa Monica, we already know all of the additional layers of location data underneath, the neighborhoods, the subdivisions, the zip codes, the school district. And so we will actually create a campaign and a keyword for every single one of those locations. You don't have to do it. It's all automated on our side, right? The second thing that is, you know, if you talk to a good PPC vendor, right, or a platform, they're going to say, we do long tail bidding. We do that all day long. It's really important part of our campaign. The dirty secret of long tail keyword bidding, though, is that oftentimes if you bid on a keyword that's very specific, like a subdivision, like Ocean Park, Santa Monica, you are actually hurting your campaign more than helping. So I've kind of gone backwards on what I just said, the importance of, you know, long tail keywords, right? The reason I say that is because what we've found is that if you have only a couple of listings, let's say 0, 1, or 2, or 3 listings associated with an area, when someone clicks on the advertisement and they see that there's no content on the website because there's so few listings in that location, they leave the website. Because why would they register to see content that doesn't exist, right? So what we had to develop was an algorithm that actually scans on a daily basis every location we're bidding on, whether it's a zip code, subdivision, neighborhood, school district, or city. And for any location that has a fewer than a certain number of homes, we automatically pause those keywords. And when those properties start coming back on the market, we will resume those subdivisions, neighborhoods. So you get the best of both worlds.
That part, I just want you to repeat it in a different way so that people can really understand the power of that. Because a lot of us, when we're purchasing Google AdWords or PPC through another company, right? We just get kind of like the bulk of everything, whether it's producing or not producing, right? So let's say Malibu, and they create these amazing AdWords for us, but half of them aren't producing, and they're still there a month later and 2 months later and 3 months later. What you're saying is that your product, this 2.0, what it does is it takes out those cities that aren't producing and it tries new ones until it finds the ones that are producing and keeps those. Is that correct?
Well, the other way to, I'm a kind of a layman who has to understand it as well, right? Right, Tristan? So think about it this way. So you hired someone and they create this, even if they do create this super long tail of all these little neighborhoods and subdivisions and school districts and all that, they create it. But they don't have the underlying technology to turn it on, turn it off dynamically, right? It's just on. So every single time someone searches for one of these neighborhoods or subdivisions, and if there's no listings at that time, it just cost you, Tristan, money, but that consumer's gone. They're not, like they see no listings, like they're gone, right? Yeah. So we have built, G's team has built this underlying technology, turns it on, turns it off, turns it on, turns it off automatically, 24/7. So you don't have to waste money on terms that are not going to produce actual captured leads, right? When there's enough listings, when they actually have 5 listings in that school district area or that neighborhood or that subdivision, great, it's on. And those are really high quality leads because someone took the time to drill down all the way to that neighborhood. We want to buy those. Those are great search intent leads, but we don't want to be bidding on it when there's no listings. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense, dude. I love that. I mean, you said it like so nonchalantly, but
because G's mind is like, he thinks, he's in the weeds, right? And so I have to explain it.
I think it's such a big deal.
But wait, this is just like this is the beginning, dude. Wait till you see the rest of the stuff.
All right. right, cool. Keep going. Tiffany,
Yeah, so
your explanation, by the way, Howard.
What's that?
Tiffany says she appreciated your explanation.
Thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate that.
yeah, so let me give you guys a real world example of how this works, right? So we created for 30 targeted areas, right? So let's say Tristan gave me 30 areas within West LA or in Ventura County that he wanted to target, right? What we would do as not an average marketer, but probably a pretty good marketer, is that we would create a campaign that has about 10,000 keywords associated with those 30 areas. That's a lot already, right? That's about 3,000 keywords per area, or 300 keywords per area in order to get that 30 targeted areas count, right? And our average cost per lead for this classic campaign is about $8.73. Now, let me show you what happens when we drill down to the neighborhood, subdivision, zip code, and school district size area. For that same 30 areas, we are targeting 655,000 keywords, a 60x increase in the number of keywords versus the classic approach. That is ridiculous, right? And our average cost per lead, because we're targeting all of those keywords that no one else is targeting, and also we're not wasting your money on the areas that have no listings, your average cost per lead decreased by 33% to $6.16, right? The best part is 35% of the keywords that we are driving to generate leads for you have been at the neighborhood or the subdivision level, which means that these people already know what they want, which is going to be the highest quality, right? So this is what's so important of being able to dynamically generate all of these deeper level sub-area keywords.
I love that.
Any other questions on this?
Not right now. I'm checking Facebook. I think we're good. Because we have another 200 people watching on Facebook. So here's what I wanted to explain here. And I know you did it at the beginning, G, but the difference between Facebook leads and Google leads, and I'm doing this only here because it says total visits from neighborhood subdivision keywords, right, on the right-hand side. When you're looking on Facebook, it pops up on your feed, right? And if I'm looking at Facebook on my feed, I'm like, oh, cool, yeah, properties, right? Then I go in and take a look. The difference is when I go on Google, I purposefully type in a specific city or area in a city or things around that city that interest me because I'm looking a lot deeper into purchasing. So I'm a lot further into that purchasing thread, right? So I don't know which one of you said it, Howard or G, but you said that Facebook leads are more top of funnel and Google is more middle of funnel. And this makes a lot of sense as to why.
Yeah,
100%.
I always like to use the word, like the stream or the river, right? And, for our clients, we're helping them fish upstream and taking the relationship, the relationship out of the water, putting it into their nurture bucket, their fish bowl, their brand all the time, bringing them back with remarketing, communicating with them with Raya, right? And then we're moving them for our real estate clients. We are moving them downstream for them. So as opposed to having to go buy $100 lead and compete with everyone, bidding up those leads down at the end of the river, right, that are just way too expensive, you can fish upstream and buy $2 leads, $3 leads, $5 leads, $7 leads, right? Get them out, nurture them, and they're yours. And get to that promised land eventually of 5,000, 10,000, 25,000, 50,000 leads in your database.
Massive.
That's what we're doing. But I think that, our clients wake up every day and they're so happy because they don't have to do anything and they know that they're smothering their market, right? It's not about our brand. Our brand, Wylopo, is not present anywhere. It's our client's brand. It's their brand, their team, their listings, their messaging, right? It's their fishbowl. That's omnipresent, whether the person's on Google, Yahoo, Bing, Instagram, Facebook, that's where they are. And we can deliver it low cost so they can build up this big database and constantly keep these people in front of their brand. And that's why we feel so good about the mission at the highest level, You know, Tristan, because we created these pay-per-click 2.0 leads that are much farther downstream, closer to the portal leads, but like 20 times less expensive, you know? So we can beat the big guys at their own game. These big multi-billion-dollar public companies, our clients can beat them at their own game. That's the cool thing.
Love that. Thanks, man. Great explanation.
Awesome. So, you know, that was just part one, right? There's a lot of new things that we're doing that, you know, we compare against the old school versus the new school. The next thing I want to talk about is the actual advertisements that people see, right? Because at the end of the day on Google advertising, you know, what people engage with before they come to your website is the ad that they click on, right? When you type in homes for sale in Calgary, what do they see? Now, the old school way of doing PPC is that you shove a lot of keywords that are relevant to, you know, whatever location you're bidding on. So if I'm targeting homes for sale in Calgary, my ad's going to look something like new homes for sale in Calgary. Here are more homes in Calgary. I have, you know, video tours. I have open houses. I have price reductions, all this kind of stuff in Calgary. The problem with this style of advertisement is that it's static, and it means that it never changes over time. Well, guess what? In today's PPC market, you've got Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, Toll Brothers, all of these big brands that are advertising on PPC as well. And if someone sees an advertisement for ShaneHomes.com versus Zillow.com, guess which ad they're going to click on? They're going to click on Zillow, right? And so we need to change what the advertisement says in such a way that the consumer is going to click on your ad, even though you don't have a brand advantage over the other people who are bidding, right? This is why we've introduced dynamic ads. With dynamic ads, we're leveraging a proprietary technology on the Google side that actually pushes in real-time data directly into the search experience. So instead of just saying new Calgary homes for sale, we can say there's 910 Calgary homes for sale, 42 new homes, 68 open houses, 105 price reductions. We're able to drive that data directly into the advertisement. And because we're able to make these ads unique, because they are updated in real time, consumers are going to click on this ad because they trust it more.
Two questions for you, G, on this. One is, so we're also playing this into a Keller Williams group. So we have like 100 or so people on that, like 120 watching separate. And they're asking if this integrates with Command. It already came up like 4 times. Does this integrate with or not?
We've been open to, you know, I mean Wylopo is a one-to-all. We're not an all-in-one. Like we're not a CRM. You know that. So we are a CDMS. We're a complete digital marketing solution, not a CRM. So we have a lot of clients on Follow Boss. We have a lot of clients on Firepoint, a lot of clients on Sierra. We have a big launch coming up with Chime that's coming up, which is pretty exciting.
Well, yeah, dude, I'm a Chime user, so I love that.
So that's, you know, we get a lot of call for it, right? And so we are always integrating with new CRMs. And, you know, we've wanted to integrate with Commands, you know, for a long time. We're all in. But it's not happened yet. So we're excited. If there's any Keller Williams folks that can help us push it forward, we'd be really excited to do that.
Well, they're all chiming in. So yeah, that may happen sooner.
They know.
Think I lost you there.
Would be honored.
All right. Second question, and this one is only from Amanda Smith, but other people may be thinking it. Amanda says, do you have to have accounts set up on all social media sites in order to maximize this exposure? I thought that was a good question.
Yeah, you know, you don't, when you're with Wylopo, obviously we set everything up for you, right? If you are doing all of this yourself, then you would need to set up accounts with social media in order to maximize this. And I'll show you guys why. So let's hold on to that question, Tristan, because I'm going to answer that in about like 2 minutes here.
Perfect. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah. So let me give you guys some real life data on old school versus new school, right? So for that same campaign that I showed you guys before in the classic way of generating ads, right? For that same 30 areas, 10,000 keywords, the average cost per click on those ads, those static ads, 8.58%, which is pretty darn good, right? That's not a bad campaign at all. And I would say 8% above average, right? Yeah. Let me show you what happens in PPC 2.0. For that same exact location we're targeting, because we're inserting in dynamic data into the advertisement, we're getting a 13.23% click-through rate. Wow. That's a 60% improvement. And what does that mean? Click-through rate is just kind of a vanity stat, right? What it means is that Google will actually allow you to bid lower in their auction, which lowers your price because you have such a high click-through rate, right? So the average cost per click dropped from over $1 to 55 cents. That's a 70% improvement. The lower your cost per click, the lower you pay Google every time someone clicks, means the lower your cost per lead is going to be, right? So all of this builds so that you get the max out of your marketing dollar.
Can you just go back one screen just so we can compare average cost per click? $1.24 down to 55 cents. 55 cents. That's insane, dude. That's
absolutely insane.
That's sick. I mean, one thing that you mentioned last time we talked, so G and I dove in deep into Google PPC 1.0 and how it works. And you mentioned, G, that when an ad actually rewards you and increases the amount that it shows it, so then that click-through rate is even better. Is that correct?
100%. Exactly right.
All right, cool. So that's something that this just proves. The average click-through rate goes up higher because the ads that they have are just so much better because they're more relevant. So thanks for that, man.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, look, I mean, when we were releasing lead ads, as an example with you, Tristan, what we had said back then, this is like 4 years ago, right, is if you don't use lead ads in a year, you are irrelevant. Now every single person uses lead ads, right? If you are not using dynamic ads on Google, you are going to be irrelevant in a year. Everyone's going to be using that technology, right? So whether it's with Wylopo or someone else, you better get on top of that.
And if you're doing dynamic Google marketing with super dynamic social remarketing, now you're crushing it. And that's why, like, for our clients, they love it because we do all of it for them. They can just set it and forget it, right? And super transparent, right? On Mission Control, you can see everything, your cost per campaign, how many leads have been generated, how many leads have been delivered, filtration levels, demographics, you can see all the campaigns, but they don't want to have to do it. Like, that's the essence of the partnership. As a real estate agent or a team leader or a broker, you already don't have enough time in the day. And now to get a PhD like G has in digital marketing and hire a tech team to do all the underground plumbing we have to do to make this automatic, like that's not going to happen. That's the essence of the partnership. And that's what's so cool about our relationship, with our clients. I found, like, in the old days, it was always like the real estate team or agent versus the marketing company. Like, it was very antagonistic. Why are you charging so much? And why do these leads suck? And why are you not working your leads and all that? And with us, it's like, it's really this symbiotic relationship where it's like, we feel like, we are your marketing department and you don't have to, like, build one, and we can get you. The other thing too that we did, Tristan, was, many years ago, we flipped our business model. We were kind of like a performance marketer. And what we wanted to do from a strategic standpoint was, when we drove the cost per click down or cost per lead down, we didn't want to make more money on that. We wanted to share in the winnings with our clients. So we totally, this was like 3 years ago, we flipped the model. We're no longer performance marketers. So we keep driving the lead costs down so that our clients win by getting more leads. We don't make a penny more by doing that. Does that make sense?
Totally, dude.
We're not taking the performance. So we really just want to create this world where we're just on the same team. And it's kind of like us against the big guys, as I said before.
What you've done, and this is me talking as running a team, all right? So what you guys did is you turned on Google PPC 2.0 for me a little bit ago because I was in the beta. And I instantly saw a difference in the quality of the leads that were coming through, because Facebook lead ads are great, nothing against it. But the challenge is that it's being inundated right? And so we have to have a balance. And when we turned on PPC 2.0, because I've been running PPC since you had Tiger, I was running it with you. Oh, I don't even remember, 09, 08, around there.
Yeah.
And so we've been running it since then. We never stopped. So I understand how it works. And now when we added this, the quality of the lead, now when we talk to them, the conversion happens much quicker. And I think there's a window here that we have, because you know what's going to happen next, Howard G, always happens. You guys move that needle, and then everybody else copies you, right? Always happens. So there's this window, I think, that I've got between 6 months to a year before everybody else catches up, and I have to shift a little bit.
I'll give you good news. I'll give you good news, Tristan, which is they do catch up, and they do, like, say, we've got dynamic remarketing, or we've got AI, or now we've got this, and they're like, oh, we got to catch up again to Ylopo. But I'm telling you, the devil is in the details. It's like, you think this is technical. It is levels of technology, and that separates really what we do from what the others do. So I can explain that with AI. I can explain it with dynamic remarketing. I can explain it with Google Pay-Per-Click 2.0. You know, it's easy to say you have it and list it, but when people don't actually come back, when people don't communicate with the AI, when people don't respond and become good leads, you know you don't have the real thing.
Dude, that's very true. I'm trying to find the video that G and I did. G, did we do one 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago?
I think 3 weeks ago, yeah.
All right, because what we did, Howard, is we dove into PPC 1.0,
Yeah.
so you could see how deep it truly is. And we went it was very technical. We lost a whole bunch of people when they were attention. And
Yeah.
it's okay, because that's how deep it gets. So I can't even imagine 2.0. As soon as I find the link to that replay, I'll post it in here, and I'll post it on all the groups we're live.
The cool thing is, ultimately, the agents don't even really have to understand it. We want them to understand it, for sure, but it's basically, give us all your towns, your neighborhoods, your subdivisions, your school districts. Let us go to work. Let us do it.
Yes.
And know that we're not going to be wasting money when there's not enough listings in there. Know that it's dynamic. Know that your Google ads are going to be changing as the MLS data is changing. Everything we do is built on this premise of dynamic. No one really knows what that means. It just means that data is changing real time, and consumers, buyers and sellers, respond the most to dynamic changing data. We're going to go really long, Tristan, in seller lead gen. We're going to take seller lead gen to the next level. Like, we're already working on it. But it's about it's about a homeowner getting pinged saying something just happened in your market that just changed the value of your home. And let us plant something with you, right, as a homeowner, so that anytime anything happens in your market, dynamic, always changing, anytime something happens in your market, the value of your home, Tristan, is changing all the time, right? You're going to get pinged. You're going to check it like a stock portfolio. Boom, you're a listing lead. You're a sell lead. You're a refinance lead, right? So, let's kind of go through this a little more quickly. We also, Tristan touched on something which was really important, Tristan, which was, how do you talk to a pay-per-click lead versus a social lead?
Yeah, very true.
Maybe at the end we have a little more time for that as well.
Yeah,
so let's kind of move through this a little more quickly too.
Yeah, absolutely. So old school lead registration, this is another area we've really changed, right? So if you traditionally go to any IDX home search website, what they would tell you is a lead is someone who gives their name, email address, and phone number, right? That's what is considered a lead, right? What we've done differently is we've done a lot of testing on this. And what we realized is that if you ask this in a two-part question, where you get their phone number first and then ask for their name and email address second, what happens is that there are 57% more leads who give us their phone number and then don't give us their first name and email address. What does that mean? That means that if you counted everyone who is giving you a phone number as a lead, which, by the way, they're a lead. They give you a phone number. They are looking for properties. They are a lead, right? It increases your conversion rate by 57%. Just that simple, right? So it increases your conversion rate from 7% to 11%. And that's a huge, huge difference, right? So with Wylopo, we're generating not just leads that are full registrations, we're also generating you 57% more leads of phone numbers that are partial registrations, and you're going to be able to work both of those opportunities, right? So okay, cool. So that's another big difference. So let's talk about the PVC conversion funnel, because this is very important. So, on average, let's say you got 100 people coming to your website, right? Typically what happens is that 50% of those people leave the website before they even see a registration form from you, right? That's because they didn't find the listings they were looking for, they ran another search, they did something that caused them to leave your website. Of the 50 people that actually see a registration form put in front of them, 5 out of those 10%, roughly speaking, are going to actually fill out a form and become a lead, right? Your average conversion rate is going to be around 5 to 7%.
5 out of the 50, 10%.
It's 10%, yeah, exactly. Five out of 100 is 5%, and what we typically see is a 5 to 7% conversion rate, right? So what is Wylopo doing differently? Well, guess what? For the 95% of people who do not register on your website and leave the website, the next time that they are back on social media, which is Facebook and Instagram, which is pretty often, probably right away, we have already cookied this person's browser. So we know exactly who they are. And we're going to start showing them a remarketing ad that follows them around and shows them properties that are similar to the ones that they clicked on your website, right? This is called dynamic remarketing. And to answer the person's question earlier, this is why you want to have a Google account, a Facebook account, Instagram account, all connected into one, because now that person has come on your Google advertisement but did not register, you have a second opportunity to get in front of this person with content that is going to get them to register, right? With Wylopo, we like to do that in a lot of different ways. We would like to show them as a buyer homes that they have visited or that are on the market real time that directly are similar to the ones they clicked on, right? The second thing we like to do is we like to treat them as if they were a homeowner. And we're going to actually show them local area homes that have recently sold that directly impacts their home price. So we're getting them as a buyer, we're getting them as a seller. And the third thing we're doing is we have built out dynamic video ads that are for both buyers and sellers that have your branding on it. So these are videos we've created and we put your brand on it, and it plays 24/7 in front of these consumers as well, on Facebook, on Instagram, on mobile, all of those different platforms.
Question on one of the groups here through Facebook. For approximately how many leads in your database do we put in how many dollars? So let's say for 1,000 in my database, what would that look like?
Yeah, our recommendation usually is if you're doing buyer, seller, and video remarketing to people, it's $100 per 1,000, right? So if you have a 1,000 lead database, you want to spend $100 a month. If you have a 10,000 lead database, you want to spend $1,000 a month.
Okay, cool. All right. So does that change?
That's best practice.
Grows? So same person's asking the question. Does that change if it grows, like instead of 1,000, you have like 10,000 or 20,000?
Yeah. So at each 1,000, so when you go from 1,000 to 2,000 leads, add another $100 in remarketing.
All right, cool.
So for every 1,000 leads, your database grows, add an extra $100 in remarketing. It's the most cost-effective marketing dollar you can spend.
Does that number, Howard or G, this is for me now, does that lower, say that it's 50,000 now, does that number get lower than it's not 100 per 1,000? Does it go to like 70 at that point, or no?
It sometimes does, and it really is, dependent on the quality of the leads in your database, right? So if you give me 50,000 leads and we could only find 25,000 of them on Facebook, then we're going to spend a lot less money than $100 per 50,000, or $5,000 per 50,000, right? So it really depends on the quality. Most of the time, what's great about remarketing is if you set up your campaign correctly, you're only going to spend the money that is efficient for you to spend. That means that if you have 50,000 leads and you're spending $5,000, and really there's only enough inventory of people you're targeting to spend $3,000, you're only going to spend $3,000 and you're not going to spend $5,000, right? That's what happens on the Wylopo side, right?
Yeah, so that's really important, which is whatever budget you spend or you set, you set a budget for pay-per-click or set a budget for social media or set a budget for remarketing, it doesn't mean that we would spend it, right? And if you had set it at, okay, I have 5,000 leads, so I have 500 for remarketing, but we only spend 300 of it because it's not cost effective to spend the other 200, then you start off the next month with a $200 credit that goes to remarketing.
Perfect. I love that. Thanks, guys. Go
Awesome.
ahead.
So, yeah. So let me do the math for you guys, right? So out of the 95 people who do not become leads, what we typically see is that when you're spending on remarketing, you get 25 of those 95 people to engage in remarketing. And if you convert 10% of those people, you get another 2.5 people who register to become a lead out of that 95. So if you add that together, out of the same 100 people, instead of getting 5 registrations, you're going to get 7.5. That's another 50% increase, right? So if you add all of these improvements up one by one by one, you can see in aggregate why this is so transformative and why we call it PVC 2.0.
It makes total sense, dude.
Yep. The last thing we're doing on the PPC side is, for those of you guys who don't know what Raya is, it is a sophisticated AI-based chatbot that we created that is basically an ISA that's working for you over text message, right? It is going to go back and forth with all of your leads, just like an ISA would, to try to qualify them and turn them into an opportunity for you. Well, Raya, we have tuned specifically for PPC. So we have separate scripting for PPC. We have special text that we send out. We have special, listings that we send out, all of that kind of stuff. So we're seeing on the PPC side that our custom Raya, scripts will convert a lead into an opportunity 9% of the time. So imagine you're sitting there doing absolutely nothing, and 9% of all of the leads you generate has been qualified by AI chatbot. You can take the conversation over. That's really phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Right? And that compares to about 5 to 6% for social. So it's not like, again, we don't want to say social doesn't work, right? But it's 2.5x the cost to get a PPC lead. But we do see more PPC leads that become qualified over time. Even though it is at a higher price point.
Dude, I really love how it engages. And what are the points that it engages with? How does it determine who to engage with?
Yeah, sure. So the way that our AI works is, let's say your new lead comes in. Well, we're going to text this person over a 30-day period, probably about 15 times to try to engage them, right? So that's the initial text that we're sending out. Now, what happens with our system is in that first 30 days, let's say that you do something on our home search website, which is very frequent because these people are coming back looking for properties all the time, right? If you do something on the website, like you viewed a listing 3 times, you shared a listing with your spouse, you favorited a property, that is a trigger by which we say, we need you to send you a special text that relates to your action, right? We call that behavioral texting. So on our AI platform, we're going to be texting consumers based on they just registered as a new lead, they are a PVC lead, and we're also going to be texting leads based on the behavior that they are doing on the website. And as soon as the consumer replies to any of those texts, that's when Raya takes over and converses with them and attempts to qualify them into an opportunity.
Awesome. I love that. Pretty sick, guys.
Awesome. So, there's a lot of other things that we're doing that's part of PVC 2.0. As Howard alluded to, we are right now beta testing how to generate seller leads in a huge way on the PPC side. It's probably going to be released in the next 60 days or so for our existing clients. Mm-hmm. We also have a system called lead filtration, which actually will help you scrub out the leads that are invalid, right? So they give a bad contact information. They say that they're a renter. They don't view enough listings on your website. They don't perform certain actions. We're going to actually scrub those leads out for you so that you don't have to follow up with those opportunities.
G, have you been doing that for me already or no?
That's right. We have. Yep.
That's why I get complete leads. It makes sense. All right. Just wanted to.
Yep. Yeah. And then, the last thing is PPC is built for massive scale, right? Just in this last month, we launched over 400 clients on pay-per-click marketing in 1 month with our platform. That's insane. We
That's
we launch about 100 clients in a month, right? And
Wow.
and so you can only do the things that we are talking about here when you have automation. That's why, you know, the typical agency or the typical digital marketer that's doing PPC for you, where they're doing it all on a manual basis, they're not able to do these things on the PPC 2.0 level, even if they knew how, right? So that's another big difference between what we're doing versus what competitors are doing.
What's the fee for you guys running PPC for us? Is there a fee that you guys charge for running the PPC?
So everything we do is based on levels. So like CRMs charge based on like, do you have like 5 seats on the CRM? Do you have 20 seats in the CRM? Do you have 40 seats, right? They use seats as kind of how they charge. We use the media throughput. So the amount of your media budget. Some clients are really small and they might only be spending $300 to $600 a month, right? So our technology platform fee, because again, we're a complete digital marketing solution. We have a complete digital marketing solution platform, which is Wylopo Mission Control and Wylopo Stars and all of the tech, right? Everything that we do, the branded website, like, you know, the home search, everything we do, right?
Yeah.
So we just have we have levels, and we've got clients who are on starter packages. We have clients who are on level 1s, all the way up to, I don't know, what's Robert Slack, who's spending almost 6 figures a month with us? What level is he?
70, level 70,
Level
80,
70
something like that.
Crazy, right?
He's like the top level.
Yeah. So it just depends. Like, so, you know, so basically, yeah, it's like, you know, if someone's interested, you know, Wylopo.com, you know, set up an appointment, talk to someone on our team, they can take you through all the different pricing levels. And basically, you know, at each level, we give you a max cap that you can spend on either pay-per-click or social media or remarketing. We'll do the same thing with seller lead gen as well.
Awesome, guys. Good question. 2 questions really quick here now towards the end. Kelly has a really good question because it could apply to different parts of the country. She says, I'm in Manhattan, so our criteria is a little different, and we don't have an MLS, right? They're different. Are the questions in Raya customizable? Thanks.
It is not customizable. I mean, it is customizable by us, and we're looking at those messages on a, you know, monthly basis to see what works and doesn't work, but it's not customizable on a client basis. And the reason is because we actually aggregate all of that data up to know what are good leads and what are bad leads based on the performance of our campaigns, right? So we're actually using the conversations to create a lead score to figure out how do we further optimize for you, and that has to be standardized. So, you know, from an agent perspective, it is not customizable.
And you can turn it off.
We did add Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
Spanish was a big request across the country. So when the consumer was saying, I don't speak English, Raya will automatically switch to Spanish.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. And then one thing that I wanted to add to that, guys, is you can turn this off. You don't have to have.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. So that's something that actually I do. I love Raya, but we also have Conversion Monster, and they're calling and texting. So right now I have it off, and I may turn it on.
Raya is there to you know, ping the consumer, you know, ping the consumer, no response, ping the consumer, no response, ping the consumer, ooh, the consumer starts talking, and Raya talks, and the consumer talks, Raya talks. Then go to your phone, turn it off, you pick up the conversation, right? As your assistant, which is kind of cool, because your assistant was talking to them. You pick it up as your assistant. We found success using the same person, the same voice, don't confuse your prospect, and basically answer the questions and get them to an appointment. So our clients are always posting on our success community the same phrase, Raya for the win. So they'll sit there and they'll just like be having their morning coffee and watching their phone and like, this is amazing, this is awesome. Raya's just conversing back and forth for like 20, 30 minutes, like, okay, I'll turn her off and I'll get involved now. But you know, with far as Manhattan is it is literally and figuratively its own island, its own universe. It doesn't represent, you know, 99% of the rest of the country. Doesn't have a, you know, its MLS situation is very complicated. Its buyers are very complicated. The search parameters are very complicated. Our apologies for those jobs in Manhattan. It is very difficult to standardize this. What we've done for all of North America, even in Canada, for the island of Manhattan.
Makes sense, man. Amanda has a good question. How long does it take to set up the system? That's question one. And do you integrate with Exact Contact, the CRM? It's like a basic CRM, like a Lion Desk type of one. If you hadn't heard of it, it's IXACT.
Yeah. So
we go ahead. Oh, it takes us less than 30 days to get set up, so it's pretty fast for us. But we do not integrate yet with Exact Contact. I've actually never heard of that one before.
I've never heard of them either. I think it's important to take a look at the CRMs. You know, if you don't have a ton of leads in one already, like take a look at the ones we've integrated with, because it's just going to take your whole lead follow-up to the next game. Everything's going to be automatically tagged. You know, the priority alerts, they're going to rise up. You know, everything's been built already for you, like the drip campaigns, like everything is just, it's so seamless with what we do. It makes your life so much easier. So much easier. You know.
Love that. Well, if you guys want, I can connect you with the CEO of Exact Contact. He's a nice guy. So I'm sure that integration will be like that. So
well, we've built our own integration technology, so we can, you know, onboard a new CRM like every single month.
Awesome. All right, guys, questions on how you would reach Wylopo? I know there was like a few in the groups, and here we had two. It's Wylopo.com, Ylopo. I mean, Howard, really quick, what does Wylopo stand for, and how did you come up with it?
Wylopo, the last 5 letters of the word monopoly spelled backwards. The symbolism, turning the ultimate game of real estate on its head. Monopoly is the ultimate game of real estate. It's been played the same way for too long. When everyone's zigging, Wylopo zags. Last 5 letters spelled backwards. Wylopo.com. We walk the walk. We know the walk that you guys walk every day. We walk the walk, all right? And so you just register there. We're going to be super responsive. You get scheduled for a demo, and you will see, it'll blow you away. Like, you're going to see the entire tech set. I mean, you get an open house registration tool, you get Listing Rocket, dynamic video ads, Raya, like it just goes on, right? And you would basically have an incredible technology set. If you want to add a person or 2 or 5 or 10 to your team, you now have differentiating technology that they're not going to get on another team. We literally can build you in 2 seconds a PowerPoint presentation with all the tech, with your brand on it, that you would supply the people you're trying to recruit. So our clients do that, you know, all the time.
We should do a whole demo webinar just on the back end of Wylopo, man. I think that would blow some minds.
It would blow some. It's hard to get through in an hour. It's
I know. It's so good.
Sean's like what did he create? Was it Visio? It's like insane. That's the problem, which is it's such a huge, you know, set, yet we've made it totally automated, right? Yeah. So it's cool, but we're not going to stop. We've got some crazy stuff coming out over the next year.
I'm excited, man. I love being part of it so that our team benefits from this. So thank you, guys.
Yeah. So G, did we still have the slides on the content for social, or did you knock that out?
I knocked those out.
Okay. So do you want to comment on that lastly? I just think it's important, like even for people that don't use us, like use Wylopo, but who are getting social leads and pay-per-click leads. G and Tristan, you guys want to comment on that? Like how you would communicate and speak with a social lead who might be a little bit farther upstream. We got in front of them, right? Obviously those homes were of interest to them versus a search intent Google pay-per-click lead.
Yeah, well, I think the difference is going back to what you guys said, where one of them is more top of funnel, the Facebook lead, and the Google one is more in the middle and more serious. The Facebook one is a lot more generalized. Hey, thanks for reaching out through our Facebook website or through Facebook and going through our website. I just wanted to get a better idea of what you're looking for, and I don't want to spam you. So can you tell me what you're looking? I know you may not purchase now. So you're giving them more of the control, right? In whatever your script looks like, just make sure that you're giving them the control so they can be the ones that tell you, hey, you know what, Howard? I'm actually looking right now. Or, yeah, you're right, I'm not looking. It's 8 months, 12 months out. That's how you approach the Facebook ones. And the Google PPC ones, because you know where they're coming in from. It says Wylopo Google Ads, right? Or Wylopo Ads as it's coming through. And we know what property they came in looking at on the bottom. That can be a little different because, like we said, it's more middle of funnel. So the conversation would be like, hey, G, notice you visited our website through Google and you're looking in this area. Would you like me to add any other areas? And what brought you to this area? So a little bit more specific as to your approach, still soft, and you're still giving them the control for them to be able to tell you, hey, wait up, we're not looking right now, or yeah, we're looking right now. And that's how we've been able to capitalize over the last few months on these.
So, you're saying it's like a little bit of a lighter touch on the social media leads, knowing that they might be 12 months out. And it's more like, someday when you're ready, what do you think you might be looking to do kind of thing? Yeah. Whereas in the search leads, when they're drilling down and saying, and they're looking right in, like, hey, I want to be in the Palisades section of Santa Monica, like they're searching, we know they're searching. We're like, then it's like, we know you're searching on Google. Are you finding exactly what you need? Can I send you some more listing? Like you can get really precise.
That's it, guys. And when it comes to these, I mean, we've been doing really well with it, especially with the market booming over here, right? Got just a little over 20 that are just in escrow from just Google PPC over the last 3 months that we've closed. I just ran the numbers with our director of ops. So 20 Google PPC in the last just 3 months from this.
So
that's massive.
Yeah, dude, that's a whole webinar we can do. It's fascinating. I'm sure you're doing it, Tristan, already. From a macroeconomic standpoint, the crisis has created an innumerable number of reasons why people question where they live and are aspiring to live somewhere else and trade up, trade down, go bigger, go smaller, go to the country, escape the city. Oh, now's my time to pounce and afford something in the city because I know long-term it'll be fine. Like there's all these things that are happening. And so, that's why it's like, in a sense, it's really, we just wish we had more inventory, right? As an industry,
that's it.
Unless you're selling a high rise in Miami or New York City, right? You've got inventory problems and it's going to be that way for a long time, but we're going to see massive, massive demand on the real estate side, which is really great news for a long time. And we're also going to see really low inventory for a really long time. And that's why we're investing so much in pay-per-click 2.0 for the search intent folks, as well as our next go deep product, which is the next generation of seller leads, because that's going to be huge, picking up listings.
For Google PPC 2.0?
Yep.
I love that. That's so sick. Last question, guys, because it's another great question, because I know people are thinking, well, I love this, but I don't want to switch CRMs, right? So Phil has a great question. So let's say we have over 20,000 in our database with a different site and don't want to switch and lose all of the leads. How would your marketing...
You won't lose them. This is the big thing. So we do a mass import. We have clients that come in from the old school, like all-in-ones, because they're getting really crappy marketing and remarketing, and they're just not getting the latest digital marketing tech. It's probably a pretty good CRM they're on, but they're just sort of caught prisoner by the all-in-one, and that's very kind of 2007. So what we do for them is we'll take 10,000 leads, 20,000 leads, 30,000 leads, and we might move them over 5,000 leads at a time. But we have a way of knowing what their original search intent was for, right? And we're immediately remarketing to them. Raya is immediately communicating with them. We call it the mass import. And also if they're getting leads from other sources like portals or whatever, we can put those on auto import. You want to get everything, sign calls, like open house registrations. You want to get everything into this nurture system and grow that database. Mm-hmm. So sometimes people, what they'll do is they might put like a smaller part of their team on this, and then once they see the light, they're like, okay, we're moving everything over, right? Or they run it in parallel for a little bit, and then once they get comfortable and they see they haven't lost the lead data, then they turn the other one off. And some of the all-in-ones we're playing really, really well with, right? Like Sierra and Firepoint and Chime, because they've produced CRM-only versions because they know that a lot of their clients want us on the digital marketing side. Some of the others, not to be named, They want to be all things to all people. And like I said, that's very 2007 of them.
I love how this 2007 of them. I like that.
Hey, you know me.
I need a shirt that says you're so 2007.
You're so 2007.
All right, guys. Thanks for being with us. Again, it's Wylopo.com. We did record this. It's on our YouTube channel for Lab Coat Agents. And guys, I think our August webinar should be going deeper into the tools that Wylopo has, kind of like demoing it out.
Love it, man. We'd be honored.
All right, cool. Thanks, G. Thanks, Howard.
Yeah, Tristan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're never worthy.
Either. You guys rock.